Hey, Sassy Stuff. I'm Emma here with Molly, back with another locker room talk. And today we're talking about how the transfer portal is potentially ruining another tradition in college football, which is the spring games. So, a lot of teams are opting to kind of change the way they're doing their spring games, not having their spring games at all. Coaches, I think, are concerned about showcasing their players because after spring games, the spring transfer portal opens up and they don't want their people getting snagged. I know Alabama is not televising this event, which makes me sad because I always love to go. But if I don't go, I still watch because I love to see upcoming talent. I like to see all the quarterbacks throw and kind of get a gauge on who will be that QB1. And I can't go this year. And I'm like, I can't watch it. So I know that Alabama's not playing or not being televised. Plus, they're not playing a traditional scrimmaged game, but neither is Texas. So, how are you feeling about this, like tradition changing? I'm not a fan.
I have thoughts, a lot of them. I have conspiracies more than thoughts on this. My conspiracy, even this last season, when they refused to put Arch in for a lot of these games, and obviously it was Ewer's team at the time. I started to kind of think towards the end of the season, like, why is Arch not on the 1 yard line? Like, he obviously is great at running the ball. You know, he's kind of this like scrawny guy that like can get through really good. And it hit me. I really feel like Texas isn't having a spring game. I think they're hiding Arch just come out of the gate this season and start whooping booty. That's what I am thinking. I feel like they're hiding him, they're closeting him because they're ready to let him launch. And I think they're doing that to the whole team, not just Arch. I think they've got some really cool kids that are obviously, I think, coming in from the transfer portal that they're also not ready to talk about. And they have a good bit of their boys at the NFL Combine this week. So they've also lost some people. So I think they're kind of figuring their new little mojo out. But yeah, that's my conspiracy is I think that they're hiding Arch Manning. That's what this is.
With Texas, to me, Ohio State is actually scaling back spring practices as well. They're doing a spring showcase instead of a scrimmage on April 12th. It could be because the season is longer and they are the national champion here. But I'm also looking at Ohio State and Texas both changing up their spring scrimmages. And I'm like, oh, are you guys just not wanting to show all you got because you're playing each other first game of the year? Because that is going to be a crazy game. Texas made a great run in the playoffs, and obviously Ohio State won. So I'm like, you guys are going up against each other day one in the new era of college football in 2025. So I'm like, maybe that's a big reason why they don't want to showcase all of their talent that day.
I agree. Listen, that's kind of aligning with my little conspiracy here. I think they're hiding their players. I think that they don't want people to know. It it does and it doesn't ruin things for me. I do enjoy watching the behind the scenes of the spring practices, which I know that they're really not televising those either this year. And they're just not sharing anything, which I think is, we look at last season and what happened, and I genuinely think some coaches just outcoached other coaches. I think Kirby Smart, for instance, he outcoached Steve Sarkisian a few times. So I also think they're hiding that aspect of this. I think that they're just kind of containing it, waiting for the season to start. I'm not anti this idea. It doesn't really bother me either way, but my conspiracy tells me that they're hiding these players for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, to me, that spring portal. They don't want to lose some key players going into the summer and then on the heels of a new college football season. And Alabama and Texas in the SEC are kind of leading the way here. They're kind of shifting it to become more like the pros, focusing on drills, developing players instead of having that full game, kind of an NFL style OTA period instead of a showcase. So it's sad because I always loved A-Day. I loved going to see the full scrimmage. You get the full tradition of a game, like a fall game in the spring. So you're like, okay, I know football's not back yet, but this feels like September. So that's always really nice.
Like I said, I feel like with the NIL and the transfer portal, this becomes more and more like professional football with really, really young athletes. And so It just sucks because it should be like a really fun time even for the athletes. I'm sure some of those boys are going to miss playing in their spring games. I'm sure that's like fun for them to be able to have a couple months off and then get back in the gym and start training again and getting ready, and then they're able to do the combine or spring training for the next season. So I'm sure they also are going to miss this. So I feel bad for the boys. I'm sure the boys are going to miss this.
Yeah, it's always so fun, especially if you transferred in that winter window. And so this was your first time like suiting up, taking the field in front of a crowd, going through like the game day traditions with music and the band and everything like that. So, I mean, it's killing a lot of tradition here, but I understand it if they want to retain their players and they don't want it to be such a showcase. I know Dabo Sweeney had something to say about like they would steal them regardless if you had their showcase or not. I kind of agree with that sentiment. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here. I'm all for keeping tradition alive, but I understand now we're going to lose some things. And if they go to more of like a demonstration of skills versus a game, then I mean, that could be fun too. But that's more influence from the NFL once again. So this is kind of turning into a League Two professional football instead of just college football in a way.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We actually want to hear your thoughts. Are you guys upset about these spring games? Are you wanting more of them? Tell us how you're feeling about all of this. I'm Molly. This is Emma. We will catch you on the next locker room talk.